it's a totally different world being around people that are doing what you want to do versus not. When you're surrounded by it, it just makes things seem so much easier. You could always get better. There's no like, oh, I'm at the top. When I barely started, like, oh, how many flips a year do you want to do? I'll probably say 1. Right now, my goal for the year is 12, so like 1 a month. That's just because I'm around that people that are doing it. That just motivates you. It also makes what you would have thought was a bigger goal not seem like a lot. You know, it makes it more attainable in your head. Welcome to another episode of the Straight Up Chicago Investor Podcast. I'm your guest, Alex, and with me, as always, your hosts, Tom and Mark.
There it is.
All right, we'll take it.
We did it.
We'll take it. All
Woo! Right. Man, we've had a lot of quiet young people. I feel like the 24-year-olds should come in screaming, right?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
they don't have kids yet.
No,
that's the problem.
They don't have the energy.
having you yelling at kids' voice.
Or they're just raised differently, and like it's calm, and you don't want to hurt people's feelings when you get loud. Like maybe that's part of it too. I don't know.
No, man, these always reinvigorate me though. Just seeing people 24 years old just killing it, hearing that Lance has another property under contract, like that just makes me feel so happy.
Yep. I love that everyone's starting. These group of people are starting at such a young age, and I think the hardest part, the 99% of it, is figuring out what you want to do. And real estate's great because you could just figure out you want to be in real estate, and there's so many different ways to make money. We talked about a few different ways he's made money so far in real estate here today.
Yeah, it also, one of the biggest takeaways from this one is, you know, just surrounding yourself with other people to understand what's possible. Like I used to like think like, oh, this is such a big deal. I'm like, that's not like a small deal to me, right? Like you just surround yourself with other people, and it's like, oh, this is just clockwork now. Where like years ago, however many years ago, that would scare you, and like that shows through in this episode like multiple times.
Yeah, definitely. How's your summer going? Anything crazy happening? How's softball? You guys?
Oh, softball's good for anyone. I only post on Facebook, not Instagram. Our Friday night league, we dress up in costumes. We're 4-1, hopefully 5-1 after tonight. We're recording this on a Friday, so
what will you dress up as tonight?
Tonight is county fair night.
No way.
But then not when this airs, when this is being recorded. We're recording this June 20th. If we're not rained out, it's county fair night. So I got a short pair of jorts, flannel with the cutoff sleeves. There'll be no sleeves for the 10 guys out on the field tonight. And then we grill afterwards, county fair appropriate. So we're going to have corn dogs, a hot dog stand, cotton candy. I don't think we have funnel cake yet. I got to check my text messages. This is an ordeal, though. This is 42-year-old men dressing up every Friday.
I envy you, though, because I came around the corner when I saw you get to the building here today, and you just look like summer. Like you look like summer. You celebrate summer. Like you celebrate.
I was at the Cubs game yesterday.
Oh man, like you just
we got a concert coming up. My wife and I we live it up here. I was in Lake Geneva a week ago.
I gotta learn to relax like you, man. Like I gotta take that from you. Like
dude, we get 12 weeks. Like you gotta.
And I'll wear shorts maybe 4 times in those 12 weeks. So I just gotta maybe start wearing shorts. Maybe that'll get me like I can't get out of the jeans. I guess maybe I don't know.
You can go halfway, do jorts.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, I will send a pic of how we look tonight, though. So when we play, like we are all about it. It's hilarious.
How short are the jorts? Because
very short.
I'm picturing like that's
very short. Like I have to find a pair of boxer briefs that are don't come out over the part. So we got to figure that part out.
Tom's pale thighs. See that on Instagram.
Yeah, and I got a nice farmer's tan too, so there'll be that nice little 4 inches of like pale thigh for everybody.
Nice.
All right, let's get back on track here. What's the housing provider tip of the week?
All right, our housing provider tip of the week is, for your apartment buildings, you have the hose bib, the spigot that's outside. For us, we've ran into issues in the past of, tenants abusing it, running car washes, just washing their car a lot. But at the same time, those end up leaking if you're not staying on top. So either A, you got to make sure you stay up on top of that maintenance, or if you just don't want them to use it at all, you can always disconnect that. And then you always prevent the potential for leaks. You always prevent the potential for them overusing it. But keep in mind, though, there are some, if you have a building that's got a lot of flowers and all that stuff, and you got to keep that out there to water. I had a guy who called me up. He's like, yeah, I disconnected. She's all mad because she can't water her flowers. I'm like, oh, man, like if you have a tenant that's got their own flowers in their building, like I would definitely take that into account before you go and disconnect your hose bib. So keep that in mind. As far as your water usage outside, it could help you there. It could also help make sure you're not having any future leaks or breaks or anything, because that line's pretty sensitive going into the building. So that's it.
Yeah, I'll add to that too. In the winter, turn off the shutoff valve there.
Yes.
Like that's the big one. The tenant's not going to do that.
And if you don't have a shutoff valve, a lot of people don't have that shutoff valve just inside. Like that's a huge thing to
put on. You could put on the little like warmer cap just to try to protect yourself as much as possible. So all right, cool. Bring our guest in.
All right, today's guest, met you on Instagram, which sounds dirty, but
Slid into the DMs real early.
slid into the DMs. I saw what you're doing. I saw your age right away. I was just so impressed. I saw some of the people you're starting to hang out with. Like, I was thrilled. I had to reach out to you. Obviously, we're doing a deal now. I'm excited about that. You came to the 5-year anniversary party to support us there. I was happy there. But happy to have you here today. Without further ado, Alex, come on in.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man. So I'm excited because I literally found you on Instagram. I'll have my spurts where I'll just Google, not Google, Instagram search, whatever you want to call it, Chicago and real estate. And then I just see who's doing what. And that's ultimately how I found you. I think I messaged you. And obviously, there's a lot of people that we know, mutual friends. So it's kind of cool.
You guys ended up doing a deal too, right?
Yep. Right now, for context, we got a wholesale deal that you brought to us in Itasca, and I actually got the home inspection in a couple hours.
Yeah, actually in like 2, right?
Yeah.
2 hours. We got to head over there. Yeah.
But man, I would start off by saying let's go back to when you were younger, but that's like only a few months.
No way.
Dude, 24 years old, and
Yeah.
you're out there, you're doing it, you're
Grinding,
you're
yeah.
taking big swings. Like, talk to us. Where did real estate come into play in your mind? Like, was this back when you were a younger kid? Talk to us about kind of what beginning looked like.
The first time I ever got introduced to real estate that I remember was back in like 2018. So I was 18 at the time. It was through the house hacking. I don't know what I was doing on YouTube that I came across some guy, Graham Stephan, got into credit cards, and before you know it, I won a house hack. Eventually, after like 4 years of procrastination, 2021, bought my first rental, and that's where it all started for me.
What was it about house hacking you liked, or what caught you on?
Honestly, it was just the idea of like living in one unit, renting out the other, and like living for free. I thought it was cool at the time. Yeah.
All right, so we don't do anything on it though for a couple of years, right? So you get this big rush of motivation. What stalled you?
So it's
Because we have a lot of listeners with obstacles right now. Like, was it money? Was it time?
So it wasn't any of that. I was actually already pre-approved. I had the money for a down payment. It was just procrastination. So pretty much nobody that I know did real estate.
Yep.
And
So it gets very scary to jump in.
yeah. So just to pull the trigger on a property, I could have pulled the trigger on any property back in the day, and right now I'll probably have over 6 figures in equity.
Yeah.
Just the way the market's appreciated. But pulling that trigger on that property, you overthink it and overanalyze everything. And I'm paying $1 a month in rent instead of living for free, so it's not a good deal. Literally, that's how it was back then. Because pretty much everybody that I talked to about real estate, they told me, "Oh, you're crazy, or you're gonna be unclogging toilets," and all the stories that everybody has.
Yeah, you
So-
listen. It cost you 6 figures.
Yeah, it did. And then
It's an expensive check.
I've thought about it even worse. It's like my initial plan was to buy one every year or every other year. You move in, live there for a year, get another one. Now, if I would have done that,
You'd be sitting on-
I'd be retired right now.
You sit on 10 to 12 units, all with 3% debt.
Yeah, man.
So, at a young age, pre-approved, you had money for a down payment. Talk to us about that. Were you working? Were you saving money? Were you living at home still? Were you just trying to be cheap, efficient?
Yeah, pretty much. I was still living at home. I was just working. I think I had like 2 jobs at the time and just
What were
saving
you
up
doing?
money. Believe it or not, I was working at T-Mobile.
Okay.
T-Mobile. So just, like sales or whatnot. And then also doing landscaping like on the weekends and just saving money, man. That's what I think that's why Graham Stephan's channel really drew me in, because it's like, oh, you could just, I don't know, he was really on top of it when it came to budgeting and whatnot. And that's why I also liked house hacking.
What's when it comes to budgeting and I use the word frugal all the time, like what are some tips? Like what were you doing, or what were you, it's always an exchange. You're giving up one thing because you want to save money. Like what
Yeah.
were some of your hacks or things you did?
Back then, man, I really went over the top with it. It's like it came down to like if I went out to eat, I wouldn't order fries because the fries were extra. But I was making like $12 an hour, so it's it's not much.
Well,
now
you're fit now too, so that actually paid off in a couple different ways.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. Eventually, like I let go of that, and like you could just eat whatever and whatnot. But back then, I actually like really tried to save money, and I would do the whole Dave Ramsey, like his app that he has. I would use that app and really count every penny.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
So there was a
yeah.
point you walked in the last couple of years, like, you know what? I'm going to get the motherfucking fries. Like,
Yeah. You eventually start making more money, and then you just like forget about it. And as long as you're not making any stupid financial decisions, like big ones, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, well, people talk about Dave Ramsey and like, oh, it's too extreme, too whatever. Like, the point is though, like, you got disciplined and did something, right? Regardless if you follow that program or another, like, you got disciplined, and once you get into that mindset, like, regardless of how much money you're saving, once you're in that mindset, things just become easier, right? You have set. It's like stretching before a lift. Like, it sets you up for the success.
It's like, it's pretty much like it just becomes normal, like tying your shoes in the morning. You're like, oh, I'm not gonna buy that because it's stupid.
Yeah.
And then it's just, you don't overthink it anymore. I don't know.
So you buy the first rental. Why did you pull the trigger? Where's it at? Like, talk to us about that first
So my
deal.
first rental's in Aurora.
And you're from there, correct?
Yeah, I am. So it's a 2-unit. I bought it off market. So this is a crazy story.
Continue.
So first, I didn't care. I was looking on market, and then, everybody talks about like off-market deals. Now I'm looking for an off-market deal. And this one came from actually Craigslist. Some guy, it's crazy. Some guy had it up for rent. Showed up. I told him, I don't want to buy it. I don't want to rent it. I want to buy it. It's like, oh, he didn't want to sell it. He was an older gentleman. I don't know how, but I followed up with him for probably like 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah,
This is beautiful.
It gets crazier.
That's like your entire career almost at this point.
Literally, like 3 years.
That's an eighth of your life.
I wasn't following up with him like every month or anything like that. Like I'll probably forget about the property for like 6 months and then like, casually give him a call. And it was a nice property. And next thing you know, I don't know how, like towards like 2021 when I got it, he died. No, he didn't die. He was in the hospital, and I got a hold of his son, and he told me, in like 6 months to a year, we're gonna liquidate everything he has. He used to be a builder, and he had a whole bunch of stuff all in Aurora, I think, and it's pretty much it came to the point where they were liquidating and everything, and I ended up buying it from the son actually.
That is awesome. And that's just your reminder. If you're in your neck of the woods and you see the for rent sign and it's all crappy in the front, like just the marker, the Sharpie marker one, like, dude, call it. Always call it. Always. That's how Luke Blonick got Avondale Bowl. I got my Cornelia building that way. Like, just not threatening, just call and say, hey, if you're ever, I'm looking to buy, like, do you have any intention on selling? He has a vacancy. Like, he has at least some sort of pain point there.
Craigslist made us so much money 15 years ago. Is it still relevant at all
No,
for what you do now? Like,
I haven't gone on there.
Does it still exist?
Time.
It's still there, right?
I think it's still there. Yeah.
I used it. We have these storage bins in one of my buildings, and I didn't know like how to put it on Facebook Marketplace because they didn't let it do storage. So I put it on Craigslist and got like 1 billion hits. I was like, oh, this thing's still working.
Yeah. Probably the.
So I have storage tenants from Craigslist.
It's awesome.
Wow.
Untapped market. Let's bring it back. Get pagers back here.
I think the user interface could get better, but yeah.
All right, so you buy this thing. You're at the time, how old are you when you buy this property?
21, going on 22, I think.
All right, so you're 21, 22. Everyone says you're insane, right? Like you have I'm going to guess you don't have like someone in your back corner there. Talk to us about like the day of purchase, like buying the property, like getting it stabilized. Like this has got to be somewhat scary.
Yeah. So it actually already had tenants, so I had to ask somebody to vacate. Honestly, it was pretty smooth. I still have those tenants that ended up staying there, still in place. So the day of closing, and it was a long time ago. I can't even remember. I remember I was with my dad. He was on board with it. Eventually, like I got him into like real estate or whatnot, like seeing it for what it was. I ended up buying it and lived in it for a year.
All right. And then, go ahead.
Another fun fact about that property. So I didn't know like roaches was a thing. When I bought it, it had roaches. So it was like, that was the whole, they were already like kind of gone because the tenant that was living there before pretty much like already like had done the exterminator stuff. But yeah, it was crazy.
All right. So you're 21, you take this on. Seems like it goes pretty well. Mm-hmm. At this point, are you like, all right, I'm full, like, I'm in. What's next? Like, what's your next move?
My next move was to buy another property. I had the whole idea of like, wanting to get like passive income, buying properties, and then retiring. Then I ended up getting my other property last year, but then you run into the same problem. At least I noticed you run out of money. So then that's how I got into wholesaling, and then to increase my income essentially.
All right, so walk us through those steps, because we get people calling us in. We get a lot of questions on like, I don't have money. I think I'm gonna go flip houses. I think I'm gonna go wholesale. And yes, like you prove that can work, but it's not as simple as everyone makes it seem here.
It's a whole other career.
Correct.
So with wholesaling, I tried everything in the book. I've tried bandit signs. So the whole thing with wholesaling, or even like finding a deal in general, I don't think it's real estate. It's more marketing. That's essentially what it is. You want to get in front of as many people as possible, and hopefully the most motivated people, and somebody will eventually sell you a house. So I tried bandit signs. I tried reverse driving for dollars, which is leaving sticky notes on people's houses. I've tried driving for dollars, a whole bunch of stuff, and eventually cold calling. And eventually, what I came to realize is you just got to do a lot of volume. So it's all a volume thing. The more people you get in front of, the higher chances you got of getting a deal. So. Yeah.
All right. So what are you doing today then for volume?
Today, so I'm doing a lot of direct mail. So I've done cold callers, so like VAs. I'm probably gonna get some of those soon. Again, I let them go, but because I was gonna go all into direct mail, now I'm thinking of bringing them back. Yeah.
Where the VAs? A lot of people always ask me, where are the best VAs to hire when it comes to cold calling, outbound type stuff like you're working on? Where are they located in the world?
I've only tried Egypt, but people say Philippines and Egypt are the best ones.
Man, you are the third wholesaler I've in the last week that said Egypt. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
What makes them so good?
Honestly, I don't.
Is it? It ties back to culture.
Regardless where you get your VAs from, most of the calls are like they're not that good.
Well, you're paying $8 an hour, right? It's a pure volume game.
So it's a pure volume game. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like onlinejobs.ph. I'll give them a plug. I do like they will, with the resume, you'll hear their voice. Like they have a little audio thing you can click on. So then like, you just know, like you can know right away, like someone might have a really good resume and you sit down like, this isn't going to work. Like their English is a 1 out of 10. Like no one's going to talk to them.
There's another tool. It's wedge, just like a lettucewedge.com that you could make them do a quick video interview. So you send them a link, say, answer these.
Yeah, before
questions.
you go through all this, like it's a dependency. Like if that's not there, it's not going to work.
Online PH, I mean, if we want to get busy, we post there. Like there's tons. You usually get 40, 50.
You hire them and manage them yourself? Or how does?
Yeah, we hire. Are you going through a service?
Yeah, I was going through a third-party company, which is like I don't know how I feel about it anymore.
Yeah, well, if you hire them directly, and there's different resources, but for like online PH, the one thing I realized about the Philippines, though, I wish they had an online like Mexico or online Brazil or Belize or whatever. But the Philippines, for us, my experience, I mean, we've had 30 or 40. They're their culture is a lot more hospitality. So they have a hard time being aggressive. They have a hard time being stern. And they have a hard, and I'm being very general here, so if there's any Philippine people listening, but for us in our company, if they don't have an exact process, like if the process ends and they don't know what to do, they just don't do anything. Versus our virtual people in Mexico, they just go make the shit up. it's like I don't know which one I drives me more crazy, but either way, they're just more aggressive. But there's got to be something to the people in Egypt, Jamaica too, on the outbound. I've heard they're very aggressive as well too for cold calling. So
might have to give them a try. I've only tried Egypt, so.
Yep. So are you doing mailers too?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Do you mind sharing like volume? Like what are you targeting? What type of list? Where are you pulling it from? Just provide some of that to our listeners who are interested.
So ideally, you want to go obviously high equity, and then you could just stack it with other stuff. So.
Are you pulling from like PropStream or Deal Machine or where?
Actually, I have a partner. He does all the back end stuff.
Okay.
Like all the back end work, he does that. When it comes to actually meeting the sellers, that's where I step in.
Okay.
Or talking to them on the phone. But just stacking lists on top of each other. So there's like, pre-foreclosure or like back taxes, or you just stack them. The more stacked they are, the smaller the list gets, but it's more higher quality.
Yep.
And
how many mailers are you sending out a month?
right now we're at a little bit over 10,000. So
Okay, so so in a given year, you're sending 120,000 mailers.
Yeah, yeah, and we just started, so my whole thing with the mailers, I don't expect them to hit right away. I'm giving it at least 3 months before I expect anything.
Now, what's the cadence? Are you doing once a month, or are you doing once a week, or
Once a month.
Okay.
Just sending them all out at the same time.
Is that I always hear it do it once a month. Is that the right cadence? Is that best practice?
I've
I never
yes,
heard anyone
yeah.
say weekly. Like I send email. Like I have an email kind of mindset. It's like, you send every 3 days.
Depending how many you send out. This first time that I sent out the 10,000, man, my phone was blowing up. I don't know if I want to send out 10,000 again. At the
Okay,
same
so
time.
that ends up being
So
a
this-
capacity thing for you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
All right, so then a couple things here. One, like there's not a team in place. You are just taking the inbounds.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so walk us through. Someone just calls you out of the blue, right? Like you random number, you pick it up. They say you got a postcard. Do you have like a CRM to go pull up their data? Like, how are you having that conversation with them? Are you
So-
just kind of faking it?
I'm just I don't know. I don't believe in scripts. Obviously, you got your guideline of what you gotta ask, but a full-on script, I'm just casual with it. We're humans, and they know whether you're reading from a script or not. As far as like how the call goes, so I have a CRM. I have a phone number on there. They call that phone number, that forwards it to my phone number. So all the calls are recorded, and I could listen to them later, see where I messed up, and
Got it.
not do that.
And then
on
you
the
can
next
use
one.
that to follow up as well. Because
Yep.
that's probably the biggest part of this game. And this is even when I had VAs where I would drop the ball, and I think I'm a pretty disciplined person, would be that person who's not interested today, but like 3 months later, like whatever that is,
Yeah.
like it gets so hard to handle the calls and do the follow up on top of your day job. Like
It
that's
does.
where things
Yeah.
get dropped.
Yeah, I think the money's in the follow up for sure.
Yeah.
That's probably all the deals I closed have came from follow up.
You're recording the calls. Are you really going back and listening to them? Like
Yeah.
that's honorable in itself.
Yeah. I mean, I have to go through the call just to get the address and get their name and the time that I set up the appointment for. So yeah, I listened through the whole thing. And
What are some of the takeaways as you've grown as a salesperson that you've taken away from listening to your calls?
you could always get better. There's no I'm at the top. You always get better.
Like what? What's something that, like, if you heard a 2 year ago version of yourself, you're like, man, I can't believe I said that noise hell out of me now. For me, it's always the ums. Like I hate the 4, 5, 6 year old or year version of me just because the ums and the trying to kill this dead space when I'm thinking.
For me, I think is the confidence in the call. So when I first started, when I was calling like for sell by owners, or I was just starting out, the confidence in being able to buy the property wasn't there as much. Even though I had my pre-approval and whatnot, it wasn't there as much. Now it's like, yeah, I'll buy the house for sure, and it just helps with the overall call itself.
Where's that confidence come from? Is that from reps or is that from financial stability?
That's just, financial stability and being able to buy the deal. So for me, if the numbers make sense and it's in the location where I want to buy, there's no way I can't buy the deal. Because
Yeah, you
if
put
I
in the
don't-
time. You put in
Yeah.
the this is now. Like
Yeah,
you put in
yeah,
the time. You put in the money. Like,
yeah, it's like there's just no way. Either I buy the deal or I wholesale the deal to somebody that I know so they could buy the deal, or we partner on the deal. And like, if I run out of money, then I know somebody that has money. And if they run out of money, they know somebody that has money. So it's like the deal's going to work out no matter what, as long as the numbers make sense,
Well, yeah, if you have a deal, you always find the money. Like that's if you live by that, then you have that much more confidence.
Yep.
Yeah.
What on the initial call are you asking? Hey, do you have a number in mind? Because a lot of times you don't want to go out to a property and like it's worth you can pay 3 and they want 6, right? Like
Yeah.
So like how are you kind of in that pre-screen without really knowing the property and trying to get a feel for it?
So after I get the address and whatnot, I do ask them like, hey, do you have like a number in mind? Do you have a ballpark range of how much you want for the property? Because I know if we're too far off, it's
I don't want to waste your time or my
I'm
time.
wasting my time. I'm wasting your time. And then in certain locations where I really know the market, like let's say Aurora, if the property needs work, more than likely I'm gonna have to pick it up for under 200. So I just tell them straightforward. I'm pretty straightforward. In order for this to make sense, I need to be under 200. Is that something you'd even consider? They say no, or if they're like, nah, man, like like we're way too far apart. All right, thank you for calling. And,
Yeah.
Just to not waste anybody's time.
Is there ever value in following up with those type of calls?
If you're an agent and you think you're thinking about listing it, or maybe you like want to do an ovation and whatnot. I'm not familiar with novations that much.
Will they ever come off of that price? You think? Like, is there ever like they realize like they can't get over 200? So like, do you follow up on those at all?
It depends on their motivation. So if it's somebody that's really motivated, they will come off of that price. But what I notice, it's a lot of people that you talk to, they're not really motivated to sell. Most of them, they're just fishing for a price. It could go down to you give them ARV today, or 10,000, 20,000 over ARV, and they still won't sell. So it's more so fishing for the people that actually want to sell, and then you could work with them.
Yeah. Also, like a huge percent of people should sell on market, right? Like
Yeah.
8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, like most people should go to the MLS. So there's those leads too where this doesn't make sense for you, but it's, the referral to or if you're licensed, take it yourself. Like that's like the only licensing I do is I get one of those where it doesn't make sense. I can offer you 280, you can go get 340 on the market, right?
Yeah.
Even after fees, you're going to come out ahead. Like this is probably the right move for you, sir.
Yeah, and they know it too. Somebody that's selling their property to like a fix and flipper, they know they could go on market, or they know they could sell it for cash, and they'll just sell it for cash for the convenience. It's not like the market is something brand new that nobody knows about. They know everybody knows you're not everybody, but for the most part, a lot of people know you're always going to get more money on the market. They just choose to go with a cash offer.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So you're walking these properties. You're relatively young. How are you putting together your rehab budget? Like, how are you knowing like this rehab's 50K, 100K? Like, I got to assume there's some early mistakes there, right? Like because first time doing it.
Yeah. So pretty much like if the house isn't turnkey and it needs like a new kitchen, new bathroom, I already know it's going to be like at least 30 minimum for the most part going into any property, unless it's like a very, very light rehab, then you could get away with less. But for the most part, I also bring in my GC with me to walk the properties, and he'll let me know.
All right, so you got your safety arm there to just validate everything. Sure. There you go.
Have to.
There you go. Put your team together.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So how, if you don't mind sharing, like how many? I know you just sold one to Mark. Like what kind of volume are we doing? You just started doing the 10,000 mailers. You're not gonna get a huge hit right now, but they are gonna come. Like what is the volume game right now for you guys?
Right now we're at like 10 deals for the year. So 2 fix and flips and like 8 wholesales. So
And the fix and flips you're taking down yourself?
Yeah.
Where are those located?
One is in Montgomery. We're actually finishing up on it like this month, and the other one was in South Elgin.
Really? So side note here, like that Montgomery Oswego market's pretty attractive.
Oh yeah.
Like probably it's your backyard from Aurora. Yeah. Like the pricing out there is
Boulder
great.
Hill's nice.
Yes,
that's where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's great.
Talk to us for our listeners who don't know Montgomery.
I think it's, at least from what I could tell, it's a lot of older people moving out, and they haven't updated their houses in 10, 20, 30 years, and that's where we could come in and fix them up and flip them. So
I think Montgomery and Oswego, you could correct me if I'm wrong, they had a very small housing stock, 10, 15,000 people in those communities that were built 50, 60 years ago. Now they have all the brand new construction that's came up the last 10 years, called Down Orchard and all that. But what he's saying, I think, is a lot of the older housing stock is turning over at this point. And there's a lot, and I love ranches, so that's why I'm attracted to it. There's a lot of ranches out there.
My aunt lived out there, one of those, 3-bed, 1-level, split level. Yeah. It felt like almost like Glen Ellen or one of those burbs.
Yeah.
So, they have a lot of ranches and split levels out there. So.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. And for us, for the rental side of things or manager side of things, there's no rental license. It's a heck of a lot smoother. Aurora's got a rental license, but they're pretty easy to deal with.
Yep. All right. So this is pretty, like, you're 24 years old. You're doing like 10 deals a year here, which is pretty impressive. You just ramped up marketing to continue to do this. You have a partner. At what point is this become like, all right, we need acquisitions guy, we need a dispo guy, right? Because the successful wholesalers, the Blake McCrights of the world, have a 15-person team. Like, do you envision like this is the direction we need to go, or is there like, hey, we're gonna stay at this size and keep, the 2-3-person team?
Yeah. So eventually, as the volume comes, like I'm a big guy when it comes to, I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
yeah. So essentially, when that time comes, eventually we'll get more people on the team. But like as for right now, I got a buddy that he does a lot of sub twos, and he knows how to dispo out deals. So if I ever can't dispo out a deal, or if it's somewhere where I don't know any buyers, I'll just send it to him. So that's how I'll do dispo right now, or I'll JV with somebody. But as far as like adding on people to the team, I feel like it comes with volume.
Yep. All right. And so because you work with ARAM, is that correct or no? Like you guys in the same building?
Yeah, we're in the same office together. So it's a whole bunch of us that all do, like, we all do fix and flips, wholesale or whatnot, and we just work in the same office. Yeah.
Okay, so that's gotta be helpful because so for our listeners, he was episode 335 and 131, I believe. I believe we have those right. We had him on recently. He's killing it with volume there.
Yeah.
Talk to us about just being around other people who are being successful. Like, how has that helped you?
Man, it just it's a totally different like world being around people that are doing what you want to do versus not. Because when you're surrounded by it, it just makes things seem so much easier. Like at least if you would have asked me like when I barely started, like, oh, how many flips a year do you want to do? I'll probably say one. Right now, my goal for the year is 12, so like one a month. And I mean, that's just because I'm around that like people that are doing it. Like Aram, like he's doing like massive volume when it comes to fix and flips, and that just motivates you. It also makes what you would have thought was a bigger like goal not seem like a lot, which makes you like, it makes it more attainable in your head.
A lot of people would love to share an office with a group like that. Like, how'd you connect with them?
So initially, I joined Aram's program, and then I don't know, man. It just fell into place. I got cool with them, and then it's like, hey, we got a new office, and then it's like, hey, there's like some spot here, like a smaller office inside of the office. I'm like, hey, like I'm about to quit my job and go full time into real estate. Mind if I take it? And then it just falls into place, and then yeah.
So you reached out.
Yeah.
You were you kind of followed what he advised you to do. It. You're likable, and you keep in contact. Like that's kind of the 4 things that you did to kind of stay in that network.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so I want to hit on that a little bit more because you said you left your job around that time.
Yeah.
What was there a magic number? Like, I need this amount of money in the bank. I need this amount of, like, what was the deciding factor? Like, it was probably, this is what I want to do. Yeah. But the actual jumping off point where you actually jumped off the cliff, like, what was the deciding factor? Like, crappy day at T-Mobile?
No. So I wasn't working at T-Mobile at the time. That was when I was 18. I was actually like a full-time barber.
Okay.
So I had already built up a pretty good clientele with a really good income.
I thought you had a fresh line there. It looks
This is fresh today too, boys. This is fresh cut. This is 7 a.m.
And so it was. I feel like it was a lot more harder to jump off from that than it would be a regular job, because at that point, being a barber, I do whatever I want. I book my own appointments with people, and it's already like I was already self-employed pretty much, so it was harder to jump off of that because I can't go back to that, because I'm telling all my clients like, hey, I'm not cutting hair no more, and I can't.
Yeah, they're gonna go somewhere else, and you lost them.
And I just lost them, so if I go back, I start all over. So the moment when I actually did it was when a whole bunch of deals closed. I literally had a whole bunch of deals lined up that were gonna close like within a month. And when they closed, that's when I just pulled the trigger and I just did it. I didn't want to. I wanted to wait longer and like, I could part-time this and part-time that and play it safe, but I just decided to do it.
Yeah. What was there like a magic number there, right? Like, you don't have to share it, but like when they closed, it's like, all right, I can survive 6 months for, like, there was like,
I think it was like 80 grand.
All right. So you're like, I can survive. I have money for marketing and like, I'm good to go here.
Yeah, like I could live on rice and beans and rice. Like I'll be all right. Yeah.
So, all right, what's next? Like, you going back to building up the rental portfolio at all, or just?
Right now, I'm really just focused on active income. So, pretty much I just want to do fix and flips. Now, when I walk into a property, I go in with the intentions of buying it rather than wholesaling it, because when it comes to wholesaling, at least what I think of it, it's you're relying on somebody else to close. I don't like that feeling. So I go in there with, trying to buy it, and just that's how I want to build up my active income eventually. When you run into taxes or whatnot, or you have a lot of money sitting, and you're like, hey, I got to put it somewhere. That's when I'll go back into buying rentals.
Yep. What have been some of the struggles with flipping? Because I know like budgets don't stay the same.
Yep.
Contractors fail you. The city's on your back. Like there's a lot of things that people don't realize. They just see the check at the end. So talk to us a little about just some of those either lessons learned or advice for someone who's looking to get in the fix and flip game.
For sure, the rehab. If you're like brand new and you don't know anything about construction, take a contractor with you. And there's no reason you shouldn't, because going in there and like if you don't know anything about construction, you're for sure gonna go over budget. I know I did on my first one, and I knew a little. So yeah, budgets don't stay the same unless it's like a very light rehab. But whenever you're opening up walls, you don't know what's gonna be behind those walls. And at least for me on my first fix and flip, so my contractor is one of my best friends. He's starting off as a contractor, so we're all starting off. So we all went through that learning curve together, putting the team together. We didn't have everybody that we needed to do the fix and flip, the rehab. So it was a learning curve for sure. But now, our team is coming together on the construction side of things.
Yep. And then how are you structuring with him? Like, is he just getting some sort of GC fee, or does he get some share of the profits?
So he just gets a GC fee. So or yeah, pretty much. But at least for me, I really trust my GC. So honestly, I just let him take over the rehab, and it's just get it done.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
All right, so how are you financing these?
Hard money. So though I like what I do is, so hard money is like 90%, right?
Yeah.
You got to put 10% down. So
real quick, just about, I'm with you. Let's write down for our listeners. You'll get 90% loan to cost, right? So you're buying something for $200K, you're putting 50 into it. You're getting a loan for 90% of 250, whatever that number is, which is 225, right?
Yep.
All right, so you're going to loan for 225. You still need you still need the down payment. You still need money to cover all the holding costs. You still need money to get the project going because you get reimbursed on the draws. You're not getting all the money up front unless you're going to, private lender down the street. So talk to us yes, I'm going to bring this down for the listeners. So you have the hard money loan, and then the rest of the money is coming from your own pocket or investors or?
So yeah, the 10% down payment that I got to make, that's coming from a private investor. I gotta I gotta give them a piece of the pie when it comes to profits. But I mean, I'm $0 in the deal. I really like doing that. Because
when you're 24, it's how you scale, right? Like you run out of money really quick, try to do 12 flips a year if you're banking on your own money. Like
you're gonna run out of money. Yeah, you're gonna run out of money.
And then how are you paying the private investor? You said share profits, or are you treating them like a debt payment?
I just tell them let me borrow X amount of dollars, and I just give them $1 a month. I'm gonna give them back at the end of the flip. It's very casual because it's people that I know. It's not like you go down the street and go in the basement, knock on the door, and it's just somebody that I know that has money that they've been sitting on, and they're letting me borrow it to do the deal.
Makes sense.
For those listening out there that need money, there's a lot of those people. There's a lot of those people that have money. They're too conservative to jump into it themselves. They're maybe hesitant about stock market, or they're not happy with the stock market. They're willing to put their money somewhere for a 8 to 12% return, all day.
Yeah, 100%. And then also, you just got to be such a good steward. That's when you can't take those silly risks. That's when things got to be buttoned up so nicely. Or you guys
make sure that you're confident that even if I do lose, I'm still going to make sure I pay them back everything I said as fast as possible to make, even if it's out of my pocket. So
yeah, I think I take care of other people's money more than I do of my own.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do not. I'll go in debt paying you back the money I owe you before I just tell you I can't pay you.
Go back to cutting hair, man.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
You have to, at your age, anyone's age, I think. It's right now you're building your resume of your reputation. And you have to. That person you're borrowing money from, that person knows somebody that you haven't even met 20 years from now. That's the reality of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about Montgomery a little bit. What are some of these other areas that you're playing in that you either have flips in or wholesales?
You're sitting out of the whole Chicago market. Obviously, you're down the street in Itasca.
Yeah, so I want to stay in the suburbs. I don't really want to go too deep into Chicago because I don't know the city. At least for me, when it comes to investing, you don't want to invest into somewhere you don't know. It's just the worst thing that you could do because you don't know the market. So I want to stay in Kane County, DuPage County. I'm pretty familiar with those areas. And as far as fix and flips go, wholesales, I'd probably stay in the suburbs as well, just because I know where I need to be at for somebody to be able to buy it and actually make money on it.
It's crazy, and you probably won't appreciate this, but the city is so much harder to understand the neighborhoods, the pockets, the streets. Like I've only probably scratched the surface. I know a lot, but like the suburbs are easy. Like even you come back 3 years later, you're like, that was 220 before. It's probably 238. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't matter anywhere in that 1,000 complex subdivision. Like, so like the city is so hard in that aspect.
It's the barrier to entry. That's why it's more profitable.
Yeah.
Right? Like
for
it's
sure.
a trade off both ways.
Yeah, I know there's people making a killing in the city, but I like to stay in the suburbs for now.
What if your wish list would be like the 2 suburbs? Like my next 12 deals, if they can be in these 2 suburbs, I'd be so happy.
I like Aurora because it's just, I grew up there. I already know the market. Like, I could go into a flip or not a flip, like a deal. Like, let's say I need to wholesale it out. I already know it's sold before I even like sign the contract. So because I'm familiar with that market, and then I really like.
Any specific areas of Aurora? Because I know like it's a big city. Like you got part of it that goes to Naperville schools. You got the other part downtown. It's big.
The part of Aurora, like in DuPage County, is really nice. I grew up in the east side, man. So it's like I know the market pretty well there. But really in anywhere in Aurora, I would just out there. And I like Montgomery. I like DuPage County also. So like Naperville, it's gonna be so hard to find something there. I already know. I haven't found anything there yet.
Well, I always tell people is Aurora and Naperville are like its own sub-market out there.
Yeah.
Like it has the, people that live in Aurora and Naperville, they usually work around there. They're not commuting to the city for the most part. Like it's its own economy out there for the most part.
Yeah. It's like Aurora, it's like, like mid 200s or, almost 300,000 for a house. And then you go to Naperville, $1 million houses. Just like that.
Well, when you go up and down 59, the Aurora address, like newer townhomes versus the Naperville newer townhomes, it's like literally $150,000 difference. They're literally on the other side of the street from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I used to work out there. This is 15 years ago, and like parents be like, I live in Aurora, but it's the Naperville schools. Like they were very like defensive. Like, all right, relax, buddy.
I don't give a shit. Buddy.
I did that at Elgin. I'd be like, I live in Elgin, west of Randall Road, Burlington School District. Like,
it's okay.
Yeah, I don't care nor judge, or nor do I have kids. Like,
People are really big on school districts, and
we got a pocket in Aurora that goes in April, like you just said. You have a pocket that goes in
Yola.
Batavia as well too.
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot of little pockets there. So
yeah, looking back on the ones you've done, like it sounds like we've been successful. Give us the one deal you wish you would have pulled the trigger on. There had to be one where you didn't, and you look back and go, God.
There was actually a fourplex in Oswego. This is crazy. So I was working on. All right, I was working at Verizon at the time, and some guy came in, and this is the thing, man. Every single time when I would work in sales and somebody came in, like I always had to ask them if it was business or personal, their account. If they owned the business, I would just, the conversation just went from me trying to sell you something to me trying to learn something from you. And so this guy happened to own rentals, and he told me, I want to sell them. And he happened to have a fourplex in Oswego. And at the time, I just wanted a 2-unit. I thought a fourplex was like too much. And so I didn't know what I had in front of me, and I didn't end up buying it. But he was ready to sell, yeah.
Yeah, that's
so true. Every time I go to AT&T, they always talk to me about real estate. Like they do, like and you had his number to call him. That's perfect.
He was trying to sell it to me, and I was like, I'm just in the market for a 2-unit.
Not thinking big enough. Like that's like you laugh at that now, but it's the mindset of putting yourself around people that are doing much more than you.
And then it went on the market like a year or two later. I was like, and then it was overpriced. So I was like, oh man, yeah.
So, all right. Anything else here before we wrap?
Nothing.
All right, let's do it to our wrap up.
All right. In your short span here, what's your competitive advantage? How have you been able to do this while others listening wish they could?
Being around people that are doing it. So that's always going to put you ahead of like somebody that's doing it and they don't have the same like people in the same industry around them, and also having like a partner or somebody you're doing it with that you guys just you're not quitting, and then you guys got each other's backs and whatnot.
Yep, might be somewhat of a similar answer here, but you're a young guy. We have a lot of young listeners. What is the one piece of advice you would tell someone that is yet to make that first purchase here in the Chicagoland area?
If the numbers make sense, just buy it. It goes down to the numbers. If the numbers work, the numbers work. If the numbers don't work, they don't work. Just pull the trigger. And honestly, when it comes to buying a deal, even if obviously you don't want to lose money, but let's say you don't make as much money as you thought you were gonna make, it's not a loss. Could you learn? I think the learning aspect of doing a deal is worth a lot more than the money you get. The money is just paper, but what you get from like the deal intellectually, that's what really sticks.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful answer.
All right. What do you do for fun?
Man, I mean, what do I do for fun? Work. Work. I like to go out with friends. I like eating out a lot.
All right, so
You get the fries now.
Yeah, I could get the fries now.
give us a good book, podcast, or self-development activity which you recommend to our listeners.
Book, Art of the Deal, podcast. I like Gary Vee. I used to listen to a lot of that back then because it's just like, it just puts you in a position where you can know yourself. And what was the third one?
Self-development activity.
Self-development activity, going to the gym. I think that, man, it's just discipline. It's just,
Art of the Deal, Donald J. Trump.
yes, sir.
That was I remember reading that in the gym on the treadmill. Like
It's a really good book, yeah.
or the stair climber, whatever it was. But yeah, that was a great book. There wasn't that many self-help books back then, or real estate investing.
Yeah.
All right. Other than yourself, name a valuable resource for Chicago real estate investors.
Meetups. I would go to a lot of the real meetups back then. You meet people that are like, they've been in the game for a long time. And
What's a good meetup you recommend?
Ria. I think that's how you say it.
All right. You've provided a ton of value to our listeners. Alex, how can they learn more about you? Is there any way they can provide value to you?
They could shoot me a follow on Instagram. And then just,
What's the handle?
Yeah.
Alex Diaz.rei. And just, I don't sell anything. I just show the journey. That's all.
Awesome. All right. We got our Chicago fact. Who are we playing for and who's sponsoring?
All right, we're playing for Devin Piscini, and today's sponsor is Chris Pulio from Neighborhood Loans. And Devin, if Alex or myself gets this question right, you get $50 gift card brought to you by Chris Pulio.
All right. So we talked about Aurora. I think you guys can get this one. I have, according to Wikipedia, Aurora is bordered by 5 municipalities or suburbs. Do you think you get all 5, or should I make it 4?
Oh, it's all 5.
All 5?
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All 5. Let's do it.
Oswego, Naperville, Batavia, Warrenville,
I don't have Warrenville as one of them.
Montgomery, North Aurora.
I got a small one here.
Wait, you want to give a guess?
Naperville?
No, small one. I got a small one.
Eola?
No,
Hold on.
I don't know anything about it.
I manage a property in Eola. I don't even know if it's
I think Black Sheep, the golf course, is in
Batavia?
this.
No?
We said Batavia.
Geneva? No.
Starts with an S.
Sugar Grove?
Sugar Grove.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that golf course. You been there?
Black Sheep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my mother-in-law lives right by there.
So great.
restaurant's good
It used to be a little at a fundraiser. They used to auction off. They don't do it anymore. We used to overpay every year to make sure we won that to go have a foursome there.
That's awesome.
So all right, that's a win.
Yeah,
we
that's for sure.
got off like 10.
It's Friday. It's a win. Yeah, that's great. All right.
For
Devin,
the last time, Mark, this is not just because it's Friday when we record. It's not Friday when this airs.
All right. This is Friday for us. Thursday for everyone else, hopefully. All right, Devin, you have $50 gift card brought to you by today's sponsor, Chris Pulio for Neighborhood Loans. So, Alex, thank you for coming on. Tom, thank you as always. Listeners, we want to hear from you. So drop us a line at straightupchicagoinvestor@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram, Tom or myself. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what you're working on. We'd love to hear if you have a guest. And just overall, just love to hear if you like the show. So Alex, thank you. Tom, thank you. And listeners, we'll see you next week.